Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a little video covering a bunch of new products. I've got the new Cherry Xtrfy Mice, I've got the Kurosun, and I have the Ruin from InfinityMice. These two mice I kind of just want to get into a little bit. They just came today, but the box from DHL is completely obliterated. So I don't have any of the boxes for the mice, and a lot of the internals just got absolutely obliterated. So the only thing I have that actually is still working and in pretty good shape, surprisingly, are the mice and the dongles. Fortunately, both of them work. I can get these tested, but you can see even the coloration on the shell of the white copy got a little damaged, which is unfortunate. I did want to kind of talk about these though, because I posted a picture about these on Twitter and got a little negative feedback. I can obviously understand the logo Cherry Xtrfy is rather large on the mouse. They don't look visually as eccentric as some things that we're used to now on the market out of the box. But overall, I do want to just get out there that when I took these out of the box, I really enjoy the shape of these. The ergonomic mouse, the M64, actually feels really good. It's kind of got this like low profile that just scoops into my hand. The thumb curve feels really good, and it has a nice ledge, even for my size hands, for my ring finger and pinky finger. I think a lot of people are really going to like this, and it feels very different than other things on the market. It feels fantastic. I do think that the internals here for the Pro version are good. They both have 3395s, 8K dongles. They're both 55 grams, really good weight balance, and no glaring build quality issues. I think, for the switches, Huano Blue Shell Pink Dots, you're either going to love the implementation or hate it. So far, it feels okay. But overall, the shape is really, I think, the star of the picture. The ergonomic mouse feels really good because the click height is a little on the lower side, and where my thumb rests when I am shooting in a first-person shooter, it feels as though I'm getting like this pinch, and it's kind of like I'm using a fine point utensil, kind of like we had on a few other mice. I think it feels really good so far, and mixed with the internals on paper, mixed with the performance, it should be a pretty damn good offering. I do obviously need to get these in game and fully test it and stress test it, make sure the performance does not have any glaring issues, and see overall over time how I like the mice. But so far, the shapes are nice. The M68 actually kind of reminds me of the size bracket of a G Pro Superlight. It feels a little bit flatter, and it feels as though it has kind of like a little bit of an ergonomic curve on the left. And the right side, it feels like there's a little bit better of a ledge for my ring and pinky finger. So it almost feels, and again, it has that lower click height. So it really feels like a lower, kind of more comfortable G Pro Superlight. I think a lot of people are going to like it. But both of these shapes, to me, feel unique. And I think that's really what we've needed on the market is some new, refreshing, unique things. The Ergo is somewhat similar to the prior Ergo from Cherry Xtrfy as far as I can recall. But to me, it's feeling a lot better than the prior offering. So I'll get these in game, stress test these, give them a full run for their money. But so far, don't write these off. The shapes really aren't bad at all. They feel pretty good out of the box. I do want to get into the Kurosun Samurai because this thing releases tomorrow. So with default skates that I just have on the Xtrfy mice, the pad definitely feels more balanced, but it still feels as though it's a tick towards speed because the initial friction is pretty low. It's easy to get your mouse moving, and dynamic friction, it's just easy to get very fast flicks without really any inhibiting factor in terms of tug or a slowdown on your mouse. It does pick up a lot of speed. So I would definitely say that it is more so a balance pad with maybe 2 ticks towards speed. I do think overall the controllability of the pad is there depending on your skates. So when I use just kind of prototype skates that I'm testing right now that I can't really get into, as well as faster PTFE skates, I kind of get the sensation when I'm on the Atsu where I get a little bit of extra end of range wiggle. I am able to control that with sensitivity and other things, but just keep in mind that as you are flicking around, that initial friction being a little low, it is easy to get your mouse moving. So as long as you have good mouse control, I do think that it is a pad that is going to be pretty solid for you. So far, the only complaint that I have with the overall kind of, I guess, natural propensity of the pad, it picks up a lot of dust. The fabric in the pad itself, you can see there's just the little white specks that do get stuck in the pad. And it is a little bit harder to wipe them off than most other cloth pads. So if you're somebody who kind of gets annoyed with that, you'll probably presumably run into that issue. And the pad does have a little bit of a texture to it, and it's kind of a little tickly to the skin. So if you're somebody who gets kind of annoyed with that property on a mouse pad, that's something that you might run into in game. Overall, X and Y to me feel very consistent in terms of speed. I would say Y feels a little bit slower, and it feels as though it has a little bit of a different texture to it on the glide. It feels horizontally like it is a little bit smoother, and vertical it is a little bit more coarse. You don't really feel any of that in game when you are whipping around, but that's something to note. Overall, though, I think it is a pretty damn good performing pad. It just depends if you want that faster side of balanced. It is a pretty firm pad, but it does give way just a tiny, tiny bit. And it has a base that is kind of like an alpha cell base, not quite as sticky. So it doesn't really build up as much static when you peel the pad off your desk, which I like because with my particular material on my countertop, it builds up a lot of static with it's kind of like those mirrored bases or those alpha cell bases. Overall, though, the stitching is fantastic. It is right there with the surface of the pad. Probably it feels as though it's kind of falling under right under the surface of the pad. But overall, I've never noticed the stitching while gliding. And again, the only thing is if you don't like the texture of the pad, and you'll have to be aware of whether you like the particular speed of the pad. And then I have the InfinityMice Ruin pad. This is basically the same thing as a InfinityMice Speed V2. It feels as though it might even be a tiny bit faster, but I don't have a Speed V2 with me right now to compare side by side. It's a very speedy pad. Initial friction is low, dynamic is very low, and static is low. If you're into speed pads, this is a very good speed pad. It's something that feels like it stays consistent. It's kind of got a synthetic feel to it, so it's very comfortable to the skin. You can kind of hear it. It feels like one of those like Under Armour athletic shirts. Very smooth, very nice. I don't have a lot to add because I've already reviewed the Speed V2. The cushioning is on the more plush side. I would say it kind of falls in line with like an Artisan Soft, something that you can get some dig into to get some additional control, but you can't really dig into it like an X-Soft Artisan. The backing is super, super nice, kind of like the InfinityMice Speed V2. You can see their logo there. It's just a really, really nice backing that I never felt moving on my desk. So if you like the artwork, which I really do, I think they've done a really nice job. I think if you like speed pads, you like large pads, definitely a cool design here from InfinityMice. I think they've done a pretty solid job. So guys, I'm going to get back into testing the mice. I know that I haven't really gotten into a lot, and I do want to reiterate that my box from DHL came absolutely decimated. So I don't have any of the boxes for these. Everything was very damp and just absolutely ruined. You can see even the mice kind of got a little bit discolored, particularly the white copy. But overall, I'm actually fairly impressed with the feel of the switches, the build quality, the weight balance. Overall, I just like the fact that the mice feel unique in my hand. And I think that it's going to be worth some attention here from Xtrfy. You either love or hate the design. I wish the Pro variant came in the blue colorway. But overall, I do think, again, shape is going to be the most important thing. And I do think it has the internals to at least back up taking a look at the mice. I'm going to get these in game and give you guys a full review as soon as I can. Until then, guys, if it helped, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.